This is the window that Samuel Richards would have looked out each morning he was in residence as he surveyed the men going about their tasks at his ironworks at Atsion, deep in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey. Under Samuel's tenure from 1824 to 1842, Atsion reached its greatest prosperity. These were the heydays when iron was king in the New Jersey Pine Barrens. Welcome to Atsion, an abandoned village on the western edge of the Pinelands National Reserve in Chemung, New Jersey. This site tells the story of an earlier industrial society that exploited the natural resources of the Pine Barrens, but died away as more profitable methods and sites were found, allowing the forest, as we now know it, to rebound. Come along as we explore what remains of this once prominent village established in 1766 before America became a country. Please obtain the map that accompanies this tour so you can follow our route. Maps are downloadable from the Pinelands Preservation Alliance or Wharton State Forest websites, or can be acquired at the Atsion Forest Office, which is open from April 1st to October 31st. Now let's move on to our first location. The Forest Office is located in what was once the company's store, so this is a good place to begin your tour. The Atsion Company store was built in 1827 when Atsion was owned by Samuel Richards. In those years, the town operated much like a feudal village where everything, including the homes where the workers lived, belonged to the ironmaster. In the company towns of the Pine Barrens, workers were generally not paid in cash, but rather in scrip that only could be used at the company store. The store sold all the necessities, including food, medicine, farm tools and equipment, cloth and sewing supplies, animal grain, livestock, and whiskey. In 1827, coffee sold for 16 cents a pound, eggs for 11 cents a pound, and rye whiskey for 17 cents a gallon. For many years, the Atsion store housed a post office. While in the ranger station, look for the Fruitland sign. Fruitland was a name given to the town in 1862 by then owner Colonel William Patterson, a businessman from Philadelphia. Patterson attempted to turn Atsion into a planned farming community, but was unsuccessful. The bog iron industry began in the New Jersey Pine Barrens when Charles Reed, a local businessman and farmer, and a gentleman involved in all aspects of colonial New Jersey government, established a forge at Atsion in 1766. That same year, Reed also established a furnace at Badstow and ironworks at both Etna, now Medford Lakes, and Taunton, now Medford Township. Reed chose these locations because of three important natural resources. There were large stores of bog ore on the bottoms and banks of the nearby streams and rivers. There was plentiful water, which could be dammed to operate the bellows, and there were vast stands of pine wood, which could be turned into charcoal to fuel the furnace. In the early years, pig iron was carted from Badstow Furnace to the Atsion Forge, where it was turned into useful tools, horseshoes, and rims for wagon wheels. During the Revolutionary War years, 1775 to 1783, the Atsion Forge made products for the Pennsylvania Navy and the Continental Army. When Samuel Richards purchased the Atsion Iron Works in 1819, his first order of business was to cast sewer pipes for the city of Philadelphia. After fulfilling the sewer pipe contract, Richards put the property up for sale. But with no takers, he restored and reopened the ironworks in 1824. The furnace made pig iron and cast iron products like firebacks and stoves. The original stoves used to heat Congress Hall in Philadelphia were casted at Atsion. In 1826, Richards built a summer home at Atsion for himself and his family. The Richards Mansion is an example of rural Greek Revival architecture. It's constructed with Jersey sandstone, and the veneer covering the stone is a lime mortar mix. The exterior of the mansion was first restored in the early 1960s. A second restoration, which included the interior, occurred in 2008. The 13 porch columns are believed to be iron water pipes made at the Weymouth Furnace located in Atlantic County, which was also owned by the Richards. When the Richards were in residence, they entertained quite lavishly, and their home was built with this in mind. The mansion has 14 rooms on 3 floors, plus a cellar where the main kitchen is located. On the first floor, there are 2 large connecting parlors with fireplace mantels made of King of Prussia marble. There is a large dining room and a nearby warming kitchen where servants kept the food warm before serving it to the family. The main kitchen, with its large cooking hearth, was located in the basement where there were sizable areas for food storage. The family's bedchambers were on the second floor. Samuel and his wife, Anne Marie, shared connecting bedrooms, which was the custom of the day amongst the wealthy. The servants' quarters, rooms without fireplaces or closets, were located on the 3rd floor. When the family was in residence, many servants would be needed to meet the needs of a large and busy household. In the colder months, when the family was residing in their winter residence in Philadelphia, several servants would remain to look after the mansion. What is now referred to as Quaker Bridge Road was once the stage road to Tuckerton, the 3rd largest port of entry into the United States after Philadelphia and New York in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. The Tuckerton Stage Road ran from Cooper's Landing Ferry, now Camden, straight across the state to the coast. The trip, which covered 50 miles, took 2 days by stage in the early years. The dirt road also linked Batstow to Atsion by connecting side roads. Products, being both exported and imported to the New York markets, would travel this road by oxen cart to Batstow Landing on the Mullica River. Goods going to and from Philadelphia were shipped out at the Lumberton Wharf via the Rancocas River. Next to the mansion is a large concrete barn. This barn was built in the late 1800s when Joseph Wharton, a wealthy Philadelphia industrialist and financier, owned the property. The barn, built as a concrete structure as a protection against fire, once housed horses and cows. Now walk down Quaker Bridge Road in an easterly direction to find the church. The church was built in 1828 by Samuel Richards to be used by all Christian denominations. During the years, it has been used by Methodists, Presbyterians, and Episcopalians, and is today a Baptist church. Next to the church is a cemetery where many 19th and 20th century villagers of Atsion are buried. Across Route 206, in the picnic area by Atsion Lake, is another cemetery called the Catholic Cemetery because many of those buried there had Irish names. Leave the church area and continue down Quaker Bridge Road going east until you reach a building on the right side. This is the site of a school built by Morris Raleigh in 1872 when he owned the town. The current structure was built in 1916 and used as a school until 1922 and later as a private residence. When the school first opened, it provided education for students from 1st to 5th grade. Teachers, who usually boarded with the parents of children in the village, made $20 a month. Now leave the site of the school and walk back up Quaker Bridge Road toward Route 206. When you reach the road, turn left. After passing over the dam, you will see a dirt road on your left side. Turn into this road. Following this road straight back, you will pass a bungalow on your right. This cottage is purported to be the oldest building in Atsion, possibly dating back to the early iron days. Continuing a short distance, you come to the ruins of the cotton mill. Built in 1852 as a paper mill that historians believe never operated, the main part of the 2-storied building was 60 feet long and 50 feet wide. In 1871, Maurice Raleigh added 2 stories to this building, enlarging it to house a cotton mill. The old furnace sat nearby and probably used the existing raceway to power its bellows. During the cotton years from 1871 to 1882, About 170 workers produced 500 pounds of cotton yarn here at the mill. When Joseph Wharton purchased the property in 1892, he used the old cotton mill as a cranberry packing and sorting house. Wharton acquired the Atsion tract as part of an effort to pump water out of the Pine Barrens for the city of Philadelphia, whose own water was becoming heavily polluted. When the New Jersey legislature put a stop to Wharton's water plan by passing a law that prohibited water from leaving the state, Wharton turned to cranberry farming. The cranberry packing and sorting house operated into the 1940s and then stood intact and abandoned until 1977 when a fire burned it to the ground. Look for a dirt road just south of the cotton mill. Follow the road as it bends to the left. As you walk, look for the foundations of 3 double houses built during the railroad era. After walking for about 5 minutes in an easterly direction, you will cross railroad tracks. The clearing on the northeast side of the track was where the Atsion Railroad Depot once stood. The Delaware and Raritan Bay Railroad first built a line through the town in 1861. The railroad through Atsion connected to New York and north by ferry from Port Monmouth and south by boat from the Delaware Bay. A spur track went from Atsion to Atco, where it connected with a rail line that ran from Camden to Atlantic City. Although freight trains ran on the existing track as late as 1978, the Atsion station was retired in 1949. Thank you for accompanying us on this journey back in time. We hope you enjoyed your tour of historic Atsion Village. For information on mansion tours, please contact Wharton State Forest at 609-561-0024 or the Atsion office at 609-268-0444.
Atsion is now the site of Atsion Recreation Area, a gateway to Wharton State Forest. Atsion Lake, created 250 years ago to power the iron furnace, is today a playground for summer bathers, picnickers, and campers. The current scene is a far cry from the Atsion of long ago, when men and women harnessed the natural resources of the region and used them to help build a nation. The story of Atsion is an important part of early America. Please join Wharton State Forest and the Pinelands Preservation Alliance in helping to preserve this unique and historically significant site.